Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and today I'm trying to find the best 50 style P90 pickup for my guitar. Let's take a look. So here is my Eastman SB55V. This is my personal guitar. I absolutely love this guitar. It's an amazing take on the Gibson Les Paul Jr., like a vintage one. And yeah, I could talk about this guitar for a while. I have a really good video on this where I take this thing apart and just do a total review on it. I'll put that link in the description. But one thing I don't especially love on this guitar, and don't get me wrong, it's still great, is the pickup. So this one came with a Lollar P90 50's wind pickup. And while it's great, it's articulate, it's got really nice top end, it's just lacking that like mid-driven P90 sound that I really like. I've played a couple Gibson custom shops with the P90s, and I really like their style of P90. It really has that mid-push, that growl that I'm looking for. So I did a bunch of research, and there's plenty of options out there. But from the playing demos that I heard, from the research that I did, what I came up with was the Seymour Duncan Antiquity P90. So this one is supposed to have a very authentic vintage sound. It's supposed to have a lot of that mid-range growl, similar to like a Gibson P90, and just a little bit more mids than the Lollar. Now these two pickups are touted as like the best, 50s style P90 out there. I'm sure there's other contenders. I was looking at Bare Knuckles, I was looking at Monty's, and I'm sure those would be amazing. But at the end of the day, down to my personal preferences, these are the two that I picked. So we're gonna do a shootout between the two because I really love this pickup. It's just lacking a little bit of something that I'm hoping that this one will have. So what I'm going to do in this video is we're going to do a pickup swap. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very simple on this one pickup guitar, and then we're going to do a comparison. So I'm going to record a bunch of riffs with this original pickup, and then we're going to do a direct A to B comparison with this Seymour Duncan Antiquity and see what the differences are. And again, this is simply just my opinion. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that prefer the Lollar and then vice versa with the Seymour Duncan Antiquity. This is just my opinion of the best 50 style P90 pickup for my preferences. Alright, let's get started. Alright, here I have the Eastman on the operating table here. So like I said before, I absolutely love this guitar. This is one of my #1 instruments, and yeah, I just love everything about it. It's a one-piece mahogany body, one-piece mahogany neck. It's got an ebony board. The neck on it is just ridiculous. In a good way, it's got a super chunky, like 50s style neck, and it's not neck divey. It's super resonant. It's just a great guitar. I'll put the link in the description for my total review on this. But yeah, Eastman makes some really nice stuff. Anyway, so I like everything about this guitar except maybe the pickup a little bit. So it's one pickup. What I find though is at max tone, max volume, it's a little bit trebly. So you can roll down the tone, and that kind of gets you there. But I'm kind of looking for something more that I can set and forget it. Once you roll down the tone on this guitar, it really brings out the mids a little bit more, but you kind of lose a little bit of volume as well. So I want something that I can kind of put on 10 and just play and not worry about it. It is kind of nice to have that volume boost, but I'm hoping that these, treble boost rather, but I'm hoping that the Seymour Duncan Antiquities will just kind of be set it at 10, and I'll have that mid-driven boost that I want. So I just got the Seymour Duncans, and I figured I'd do just an unboxing on them since I have them here. So they come in this really nice box. It's got that Antiquity logo, a little bit of more information on the side there. And yeah, looks good. Open it up, and it's kind of in this kind of handmade looking kind of sack here. It's kind of like a burlap, and it says Antiquity on it. It's kind of a nice touch, kind of that boutique handmade kind of look. And then it comes with a little card here. Looks like there's a signature of the person that wound it, as long as the pickup reading, and a serial number. So a serial number for a pickup is getting a little crazy, but that's cool. Yeah, I like it. Looks good. And then inside the bag, in some like brown tissue paper, is the pickup. It's got a little sticker on it with the reading. And yeah, it's kind of this brown tissue paper material. And then opening it up, you can see it's got the wire braided two-way lead there. You got your hot and your ground is the braided part of the wire. And then the serial number, there's our pickup cover and the pickup itself. So the ones are covered in tape, you can't really see it, but it's pretty standard P90 shape and style. And it's got the Alnico 2 magnets on this. So this is actually, I looked up the rating, like the readings, and this one's supposed to be a little bit hotter than the Lollar. I think the Lollar's like 8.62 and this one's more like an 8.64 or something like that. So pretty close, but this one's just a little bit hotter. It looks like they've aged the cover a little bit too. It's a little bit scuffed up to give that kind of vintage look. And then inside we've got a nice sticker that's going to go on my sticker drawer and a wiring diagram. And the wiring diagram shows for 2 pickups. We're just doing one, but I think most people would typically use the 2 pickup wiring diagram and then 2 screws to mount it to the body. So yeah, nicely packaged. So yeah, I just thought I would double check the reading. So here's the Lollar, and it's reading a 7.72, which is right what it's supposed to be. And then I'll take the alligator clips off here and just put them on the Seymour Duncan Antiquity, and we'll get a quick reading from there. So I'm just putting the ground on the braided wire, and then the lead, the red one, the hot, on the lead there. So it's reading an 8.64. So yeah, it's a little bit hotter than the Lollar, which is kind of what I want to. I found the Lollar is a little bit, I just want a little bit more push on it, a little bit more breakup at lower volumes. And yeah, so it's going to be a pretty easy installation. It's just the one pickup. It's got 2 little solder points. I'm going to go ahead and time it to see how fast I can do. So yeah, just over 9 minutes, under 10 minutes. It's pretty good. I feel like I could have went faster if I really wanted to, but I was kind of trying to show everything that I was doing and not screw anything up in case I had to do it all over again. So I did wrap the lead wire on the other pickup because it's quite a bit longer than this one, and that's just to prevent any of the grounding out anywhere. I just used painter's tape. You can use electrical tape, or you can just cut it shorter if you want. I want to preserve it. Here's the Lollar pickup. So yeah, it's actually branded Eastman, Lollar, 50's wind. So Eastman obviously has a deal with Lollar, so they're branding their name on the pickups that they make for their guitars. But it's very similar to the Seymour Duncan, very similar to the same shape. It's got Alnico 2 magnets as well. The pickup cover is a little bit different. It's actually a little bit wider than the Antiquity. I kind of like the look of the Lollar a little bit better, but it didn't quite fit on top of the Antiquity. So I also measured the width of both of them, or the height, and they're both going to be the exact same distance away from the strings. So that's going to be a nice constant for our test once we plug it in. And yeah, okay, let's go ahead and plug it in and see how it sounds. All right, I'm plugged into my 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue. Here's a look at the settings, and these are going to be the same for both. I've already recorded the segment with the Lollar pickup, and now I'm going to do the Seymour Duncan. So the microphone's the same distance away. I didn't touch any of the amp settings. That's all going to be the same. I've got an overdrive pedal that I'm going to switch on for the overdrive. So everything should be exactly the same between both tests. The only difference is the pickup. I've got the same pickup height, and I'm going to be trying to playing pretty much the same for each one. It's kind of impossible to do, but I'm going to try to keep it as consistent as I possibly can. And again, I've got both guitars wide open, full tone, full volume. right, so final thoughts on the stock Lollar's 50s wine P90s versus the Seymour Duncan Antiquities on my Eastman SB55V. Well, I took the recordings and I put them on my computer and I listened to them back with like some high quality headphones so I could hear the subtle differences of both, because I couldn't remember right away just quite all the differences were. And they both sounded great. There was just some very slight differences between the two pickups. For example, the Lollar had a little bit more high end. It could sound a little brittle at times. Again, you can tame that with the tone knob, but you lose some of that signal when you do that. With the Antiquities, you could really hear the more of the mid-range punch coming through, and you lost some of that high frequency stuff. And the Seymour Duncans also had a little bit more punch. They're wound a little hotter than the Lollars. You can see that with the pickup readings. The Lollars were like a 7.7 and the Seymour Duncans were like an 8.64. So that little bit does make a difference, especially with distortion added on. There were some riffs I liked better on the Lollars and some riffs I liked better on the Seymour Duncans. It just, you lost some of that overtone, high-end overtone on the Seymour Duncans. Overall though, I think I did prefer the Seymour Duncans, and that's totally personal taste for me, because they both sounded great. The Lollars, they were both super clear, they broke up very nicely, and just both super high quality pickups. And I think it just comes down to personal preference on these. With the Lollars, they are a little bit more chimey, a little higher end. Again, you can tame that with the tone knob. The Seymour Duncans are a little bit more mid-driven and have a little bit more punch, just slight bit more, and they do both sound great. So I would absolutely recommend both of these pickups to anyone looking to upgrade their guitar. But for my personal taste, I think I'm going to stick with the Seymour Duncans. That might change. I'm just going to put the Lollar in the Seymour Duncan package and put it in the guitar case. In case I ever sell the guitar, I can switch it back and have it fully stock. And then I can have and keep my Antiquity. But yeah, for now I'm going to keep it in there just because I am enjoying it. And maybe I'll check in 6 months on the road and see if I'm still liking it as much. So yeah, both great options, just slight differences between the two, and they're both fantastic sounding pickups. So that's going to be it for today. Thank you for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and I'll have more for you really soon. Thanks a lot.